so much for being here. Wanting to continue to keep you all briefed up, and every Wednesday, always look forward to doing just that. You know, as I start with public safety and year-to-date stats, using always the preliminary data from the New Orleans Police Department. Starting through September 30th, comparing 2023 with 2022. Just continue to demonstrate progress in curbing violent crime across the city of New Orleans. Total crimes against persons down 20%. Murders are down 26% in our city. Armed robberies remain down at 33%. Non-fatal shooting incidents remain down 17%. Non-fatal shooting victims are down 19%. Carjackings are down 45% in our city. Even comparing September 2022 to this September, highlights again how far we have come as a city in decreasing violent crime again throughout the city. There were significantly less violent crimes this September than last September, including a 56% decrease in murders, a 61% decrease in carjackings, and an overall 37% decrease, again, in total crimes against persons. This is progress. And just continues to reflect the works of the hard-working women and men of the New Orleans Police Department. In addition to and combining our holistic approach that my administration has set forward. Understanding that over a year ago, where we were, quite alarming in our city. I know that you all reported overwhelmingly. People were moving out, all those things that we felt, and even in real time, of course, we saw. But our officers never wavered. All those roll calls attending, I tell you, paid off. Listening to the patrol, that means the boots on the ground. Not only listening, but bringing what I heard back, leaning in to accept even help relative to our partners, like the business community. Remember that press conference we had, where I asked for and welcomed a 10-day assessment that therefore led to additional resources being allocated from the business community to highlight and bring forth consultant services. And so that had an impact. But also we started to see this as we moved into 2023. Even with leadership transitions, I told you we would stay and remain steady. I'm confident in that even now with the leadership transition that is ongoing now, because the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department have what it takes to keep our community safe. And when we add in and factor in the resources that we were able to deploy, and thank God for that, one-time funding for the ARPA dollars, I fought single-handedly for those direct dollars that we could utilize. But also, in addition to the partnerships, our law enforcement agencies, demonstrated over and over again, working with and in collaboration with our hard-working talent on the ground, that we would make progress. In addition to activating dollars to do force multipliers, I call it, whether that is civilian hires, check, great job. Whether that is making sure that we can respond to the needs of our community and those that are suffering from mental health issues or outbreaks, if you will. Bottom line is, we delivered what we said that we would, and we're seeing progress today. But it didn't just start now. And that's the whole point. You dig in, you focus, you assess, you listen, you work with, you collaborate, you support. And so I got to give it all again to the men and women of the New Orleans Police Department, because at the end of the day, it really does start with them, but also it starts with us, providing the support and the services just necessary. I want to thank even Miss Marguerite Doyle. I'm thinking about Miss Marguerite. 5th District, resident, leadership, you name it. So they just donated, you know, lots of water to the 5th District. Just the community is doing things. They have been re-energized. They're, you know, motivated because of the progress. That's what progress does, you know? And that's what good news does. That's what positivity, that's what it does. That's what love does. That's what respect does. You know, so over and over and over, this administration, in partnership, continue to deliver. And on public safety, it is this time that we take a little moment. And no, we're not there yet, meaning there will always be a time that we have to continue to collaborate, work together to get things done. There will always be spikes. Absolutely. Because now you're asking me about what happened a year ago and how COVID impacted public safety. Now you're asking it. When we were sharing it and telling you then. But now, when the progress has been made and demonstrated by the women and men of NOPD, and with leadership coming from my administration and in partnership, they've delivered. They deserve it. And we're going to give it to them every step of the way because they give it to us every day. That also includes investing in our young people. And you know how I got attacked for that. You know it. Supporting programming that has worked for young people, and time does tell a story. And the story is 98% of those young people that have crossed the line in the city of New Orleans that have been met with resources that we have funded and have provided through, again, partnership and collaboration, juvenile court, the Juvenile Justice Intervention Center, the Office of Youth and Families, all in coordination. It has worked. The young person that I recognized that had benefited from Pathways when I showed up to support the program, that also supported the family, but did not in any way discount the victims. That young person is doing so well right now. And as I indicated to them and young people that I touch, you can hit a bump, but you can turn it around. And we have real examples in our history, real examples in our family. I do, over and over, how you can turn it around. And once you get over that step, that little bump, it's like, wow. Because in the moment, sometimes you don't think that it's possible. And you don't realize it's possible until you actually do it. So this is also to those young people, our families that continue to be a part of our criminal justice system. Accountability breeds accountability breeds accountability. We're seeing the results. So I can go on and on and on that. You hear me, right? So I'm going to move on. Like I tell my people, I'm on my little soapbox, I say, where's that horse again? Where is he laying? Anyway, you get my point. You get my point, because we cannot forget the moment in time that we're in. We're hiring. We're recruiting. We need the best and brightest to be amongst us, to join leadership that's effective on the ground. I walked home the other day, my little neighbor. Miss LaToya, y'all hiring, with NOPD? I said, man, you see the sign in my yard? Yeah, we hiring, NOPD.org, join. And so, and I've been working with this young fella, my neighbor's up anyway, transferable. It's a beautiful, beautiful story. But I told him yes. So by that evening, he had texted me a screenshot of where he went to apply. And he got his little response, thank you for applying, and that. So that's getting the ball rolling. That is our community being re-energized and reactivated to understand that this is a noble profession and they can be a part of it. And this young man, a son of this city, a young man, I can go on and on. All right. Saltwater intrusion. Let me get some water. Now, most importantly, the message is our water continues to be safe. And that will always be the top priority for my administration, for that of the Sewage and Water Board, and even in partnership with the federal government, with the state of Louisiana. No doubt about it. The Sewage and Water Board tests daily for salinity, none found. We have some of the best testing apparatuses and talent, quite frankly, in this state, coming through the Sewage and Water Board, and data. And data is always impactful if used wisely. And we're doing just that at the Sewage and Water Board. Which also led to, one, looking at data from 1998, sharing with the state, having the best again in the state. Also led to me at the first briefing with the governor, and of course in consultation with Sewage and Water Board leadership, even with that of mine in terms of DPW, but looking at lessons learned, looking at how we can actually lay the foundation for a pipeline, one that goes, again, beyond, as we talk about Kenner, one that requires collaboration, of course, with our parishes in Jefferson Parish, one that the City of New Orleans put on the table, and one that even prior to putting it on the table had already been in discussions with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. But one that was embraced heavily, one that was taken to the next step, meaning not just looking, and of course, in terms of the federal government and even FEMA, as we're looking and really being pushed into adapting to climate that has already changed. So these weather events have an impact. And with lessons learned, we have an opportunity to not just go with a temporary fix, but we do have an opportunity to focus on a permanent. So make no mistake about it, the City of New Orleans is not behind anybody or anyone. The City of New Orleans is leading in this capacity. You know, regardless of what you hear, you know, like people in the community when they see me, I don't care what they say. You know, I don't care what they say, T.D. You know, I say, I don't either. But I'm saying, don't believe the hype. The City of New Orleans, Sewage and Water Board, we're leading in this capacity. We're getting the responses that we're due. Again, at the federal level, I've been always leaning in, always attached to the briefings, always advocating, picking up the phone, calling myself. So no asks have been done by anybody else first but me. But of course, Echo, you continue to ask. And you continue to circle the wagons to demonstrate, one, the solution is a collaborative one, that there's buy-in across the board, that we can actually get it done, that we have the talent to get it done, and we need the resources. The federal government is listening, and the state is listening, and I just wanted to, again, let you know, and the public know, be confident, because I am. And as this administration has continued to, especially in the times of crises, to focus on the work and get us through it. Just like before, here we are, right? But it's a different response that's necessary. Not thinking about closing down the city, none of that. This isn't COVID. And we have time is on our side, and we're using it wisely. So, the Sewage and Water Board has moved forward with procurement in regards to contractors to do and work with. That's happening. But always wanting to make sure that we get the best outcome possible, because it's not a matter of if, it's when. And if we can do this, and we will do it, then this is a permanent, could be a permanent solution for us long term. And again, it takes a collaborative approach, and we have it happening every day, and we're going to deliver. And that is local, meaning city government, Sewage and Water Board, my administration, in partnership with the state of Louisiana, GOSEP and the like, in partnership with the federal government, FEMA and other partners. And then also just wanting to, it always feels good to be able to help out as well and to be a part of the solution. And that's what the City of New Orleans is, and the Sewage and Water Board, who we are, to our neighboring parishes, making sure that they have water that they need. And so again, doing what it takes, and we'll continue to deploy strategies that are uniquely defined and aligned with the needs of our parish. And so with that, I am going to turn it over. I think I covered everything I wanted to talk about at the top of my mind.